Welcome to the Basket Buds edition of the Athletic NBA Show podcast on the Athletic Podcast Network. I'm your host, Zach Harper. It's just me and Josh Eustace today. No
Thank
Jay
God.
King. God. I mean, he's allegedly watching Jason Tatum work out right now, so he'll be late. But the reason we can't wait for him is I'm in Portland, and I got to catch a flight that, I got to be honest, Josh, a little worried I'm not going to catch. I'm a little worried.
Is it that tight?
It's going to be tight. It's going to be
Portland
tight.
traffic is a nightmare, buds.
Sometimes getting over to the airport, but we'll see what happens. We got through the first week of the season. I guess, like, what memories does that bring for you in terms of like that first, like, what is that like? Like, you work all off season, you go through training camp, you go through preseason. Now the games matter, the games are real. Is there like a nervousness there, or do you kind of like slide into that routine pretty quickly?
It's more of an excitement, I guess, because it's like, again, like, you've kind of been working in quiet for months, right? And then at least in OKC, the crowd was always insane.
Yeah.
So like that first like run out of the tunnel onto the court was exciting, because preseason's one thing, man. Like, everybody's excited, but at the same time, the players are just kind of like, let's just get this over with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But then you hit the regular season, and I don't know. It's kind of a mixed bag where you're like excited, and then you're like, oh,
is there pressure?
8 months. Here we go.
Is there pressure on the team, on the Thunder, to score immediately so everyone will sit down?
Oh yeah, I remember. I
like that as a crowd gimmick, but like there's times where like I'm like, man, sometimes you can be standing for a couple of minutes. Yeah.
Oh, I remember there would be games where people be standing for like 5 minutes, and you can see people getting visibly uncomfortable. Like, people start bending over, stretching their backs.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then that first one goes in, and then everybody finally sits down, and collective sigh of relief.
We're gonna debut a new segment here called The Buddies, which it makes sense that Jay wouldn't be around for this. Because he's more foisted upon us. But for the Buddies, it's going to be player and team of the weekend. Who was your player of the weekend?
I'm going to give it to Tyrese Halliburton.
Oh, I like that.
I loved Tyrese this weekend, man.
Yeah.
I mean, leading the Pacers, undefeated so far, like playing really well together. Moving the ball. I mean, the guy is just a stud, right? Scores, moves the ball. We have 13 assists against the Cavs. Like, just playing well. Obviously, it's early, and I'm going to get in later into more about what I think about the Pacers' start to the season. But
yeah,
for now, I'm going to give it to Tyrese.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
Is it cliche? Is it too obvious of an answer to give it to Jokic, just simply because that pass he threw,
the lob,
people don't People don't. I remember the first time I threw a successful alley-oop, right? And it was like on a fast break. It was on a fast break at McKinley Park in Sacramento, California. And I threw like a little underhand lob to this guy. And it was the first time I figured out, oh, that's the timing, that's the angle, that's the thing. I was probably 10 feet from the hoop when I tossed that.
Right.
I wasn't 70 feet trying to catch someone off guard and
one-handed
on a dime, on an absolute dime. Like, that's the best pass of all time.
So I was watching, and I was like, people don't understand the level of difficulty there. Like, so a lot of people could throw a lob to Aaron Gordon. Tons of people could throw a lob to Aaron Gordon because he's Aaron Gordon. He'll catch pretty much, if it's within, a body length of the rim, he's going to go get it. Right. Yeah. But he put that perfect to where almost anybody could catch. 10 out of 10, difficult, unbelievable.
Like, I think it would, like, even people that like think they're good at basketball, right? Like regular people who think they're good at basketball, go stand 70 feet from the hoop and just try to hit the backboard with this one-handed toss.
Well, it was the quickness of it. It was like ref handed him the ball, and the ball was out of his hand in less than half a second. He
wasn't measuring it. He wasn't all right. Like it was just it was an instinct thing.
Right.
Like they must have caught eyes, and it was like,
for sure.
All right.
For sure. I'm a big believer that there are certain people that just have God-given abilities at certain things. Like, they're just natural. He's a natural passer, right?
Yeah.
Like, he's just got it. I think, like, Doncic is just a natural scorer. Like, there's some guys that just have it, and he's out of this world, man, especially for his size.
It just doesn't, man. I mean, I genuinely, I hate that there's so much hyperbole all the time regarding everything in sports, and especially basketball.
Yep.
But I genuinely think that's the greatest pass of all time. I can't stop.
It's got to
watching
be
it.
a candidate, man. But that was too easy of an answer. You can't say Jokic. I was going to say Jokic, but that's too easy.
Okay. Whew, all right. If it can't be Jokic, Cam Thomas.
All right.
I love scores. I love guys who only care about scoring. I love guys who
you like the Levine game then.
Yeah. Oh my God. 51 and no assists.
0 assists, baby.
Oh my God. Hook that in by. And the great part about that, they scored 102 points. He had exactly half their points in a blowout loss to the Pistons. Like,
I don't think people get how hard it is to like not have an assist. Like, it gets harder the more you're scoring, because eventually you're going to get double teamed, you're going to get trapped, all that. Like, you could just trip into an assist, but to go the whole game and have none on 51 points is absurd.
I think it was the 33rd time in history it had happened. 16 of them were Wilt Chamberlain, because of course.
Obviously.
Like, I don't think it had happened in 5 years, and I think it was like maybe 15 or 16 times since the NBA ABA merger. Those are the stats I have for it.
I would be interested to see how many of those were guards. I think it's way more common for a big to score all those points and have no assists, but for a shooting guard,
right? Totally well, funny enough, the last person to do it was Klay Thompson. What like 5 years ago, it was like Klay Thompson, but like we don't really think of him as a passer, right? Like Levine is more on the ball to like move it
for sure, especially not even getting one to DeMar, Caruso, Vucevic, any like their options, but nope.
No, congratulations, Zach Levine. All right, I changed my answer. You know what? My player of the week is just scoring, just individual score with
bucket hitters.
All right, what's your team of the weekend?
Oh man, now see, I told you that it was too easy to go with Jokic, but I'm going to be kind of a hypocrite here and just go with the Nuggets.
Dude, they're
so good.
They're sleepwalking
they're
through
so
3 games,
man.
and they're dominating.
They're dominating.
People, that Laker game was close. I was like, no, it wasn't. They dominated.
No,
that Grizzly game was close. I was like, the score was close. They were in control of it the whole time.
For sure. You're never thinking like, oh, they might lose. You're just like, no, they got it.
I wrote this in the Bounce newsletter. I was like, barring a catastrophic injury, like they're going to sleepwalk to 60 wins.
I don't see who's in their way, especially in the West with as many injuries as there are right now.
Yeah.
Like with the Suns already dealing with that. This is the healthiest the Lakers will ever be for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
I think it's the healthiest the Warriors will ever be. Who gets in their way?
I don't know. I don't know who. I mean, like I guess I'm giving respect to the Warriors just because if healthy, we know what that can look like, right?
For sure.
So I'll give respect to the Warriors. I don't think the Lakers have no one has an answer for Jokic, but they really don't have like the size to throw at him. The Suns don't have the size to throw at him. Not. It's hard for me to kind of realize or kind of materialize like what that obstacle could be other than just like maybe they're bored.
Yeah.
Like they got bored at the end of last season.
For sure. I'm trying to think like Sacramento, I don't think has the size to throw at him.
No, Sabonis got destroyed by Kevon Looney in a playoff series.
He had trouble, right? I just don't. I don't see it.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Like that was that was going to be my pick. I was gonna sneak that one in there,
dude.
But I'll go with. You know what? I'm gonna give it up to them because I don't know how many times we're gonna be able to say this. I know their schedule hasn't been hard, but shout out to the Detroit Pistons at 2-1. Jalen Duren balling right now.
Balling.
Cade looks good. Like no, they
looks great.
Yeah, but like you know, I thought going into last year, I was like maybe the Pistons will be like a sneaky play-in team or like in the mix for it, and then they were injured right away, and then they were terrible, right? Like they just got destroyed. But I do like the roster. I don't know where the veteran leadership comes from on the roster.
Jeremy.
So I don't know how they keep it like focused.
Yeah, no, I don't know, because it's a long
like
season, man.
Joe Harris, Alec Burks, like
yeah, those two for sure.
You know,
Joe's
Bogdanovich, maybe Monty Morris, but they don't have that like definite guy, you know?
Right. Yeah, no, that's a good point.
And maybe that's just Monty then. Maybe Monty's just a coach that can keep it all together.
Yeah. This is the Eastern Conference to do it in. I think it's a little heavy at the top.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of up in the air from like spots 4 down.
Right. And then at that point, who knows? Like if they just stay healthy, they might be I mean, they might legitimately be a play-in tournament team.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or higher. All right, let's get to the topic of Monday, which is these courts. These new play-in tournament courts. And I'm in look, I think they're pretty much all ugly. Like I've got some group chat where I've got friends like, "Hey, that's this one's actually pretty good." I'm like, "No."
No. Right.
As an artist rendering, I can be like, "Yeah, that's fine," or "That's not," but like I can see it. I can't imagine any of these applied to an actual basketball court where you have to play, where they're going to broadcast. And so as someone who's played, like you played on that god awful Oregon Ducks court. Yep. How distracting is something like that as a player? Like at a certain point, you probably just get used to it. But like that Lakers one, it's just bright yellow on the court everywhere.
Yeah. Well, and I was caught up on the Pelicans one too, the purple. Like it's a lot, man, because I think as a player, you get used to the courts looking a certain way. You're like, all right, I know what the 3-point line looks like. It's going to stay the same from corner all the way around the arc to the other corner. Yeah. Now it's like, okay, it changes from purple, then it goes to green, and then it goes back to purple. And got to keep track of because I don't even know, how is it going to blend? Like, are the lines, is the 3-point line going to blend in with the purple or the green? Or is it going to stand out completely?
Great question. Where is it? This runway strip of color down the middle of it. And so I said this before we started the show, and I genuinely believe this. Like, I think Adam Silver is just trying to be Amy Poehler from the Mean Girls. He's like, I'm not a mom, I'm a cool mom. He's like, I'm not a commissioner, I'm a cool commissioner. It's like, buddy, can we just have some good basketball? Like, I get
it's not like people are going to tune in for the courts. Be like, yeah, I'm psyched, man. I wasn't going to watch the game, but did you see that court?
See this bright green strip down this purple court? Like,
I'm just there to see if anybody has a seizure. Let's go check it.
I think there's a chance people will tune out because of the courts.
Oh, for sure. Because I
remember middle-aged, older
it was giving people headaches.
Yeah, I can't watch an Oregon Ducks game to this day if they're at home. Like it always makes me think like, oh shit, my TV's messed up. Right. Even it's still like I can't adjust to it immediately. I have to go through the thought process. And some of these courts, like the Knicks one is like a bright orange, the Lakers is a bright yellow. Like these are not going to look good on TV. I don't think they're going to look good in person. It reminds me of all the NBA 2K designs that you see out on the internet with kids. It reminds me of the overtime elite courts and the creator league courts and all that bullshit where it's just is this the point of this to get young people to care?
I guess, but I feel they do already. That's what I'm kind of lost on. Yeah. It's are they struggling for viewership? Like, why are they?
This man, J. King, is now here.
With a new set of type of lights above it.
You can't find normal lighting at all.
I was just not allowed to record from the Georgetown practice facility. And so now I'm downstairs in the lobby of their athletics facility. Just making do, baby.
God, I hope you get kicked out of this too while we're doing this recording.
Yeah, I don't know. And then I just
Jay,
try to think about. We were talking about the courts. I was just going to say about the jerseys. Like, what color are the jerseys going to be?
Right?
Like,
Is
do
this
they
where the
blend in
city
with the court?
edition? Because if you look at the Indiana court,
Court is blue.
it's
because
the same.
I've always wanted to see a blue court.
It's. I mean, I hate watching Boise State football for the blue field. Like, what do we? I don't understand this video gamification. Let's pretend that's a word of this damn thing. Like this whole like Jay.
Yeah.
Jay, the Celtics one, I guess, is one of the more normal courts. I don't see how this is going to be fun to look at on TV.
I just had a conversation with one of the Celtics PR guys who was really excited about this, and
he's not.
And I was like,
he was involved in the design.
I was like, wait. You think this will look great? He was pulling up the courts of different teams and like that's fire. I was like, what? This is going to look so bad on TV. It's going to be so distracting. They could have just written in-season tournament on the court.
Right.
Instead, they spent tons of money to get new courts for every single arena.
Mm-hmm.
And it just seems like a waste of money that will probably just end up making the viewing experience worse and annoying me. But like, it'll be very colorful, extremely colorful.
But that's not what we're looking for in basketball. I'm not looking for colorful. I'm looking for basketball. Like, I understand I sound like an old man yelling at a cloud, but like I genuinely am trying to think of my dad who will watch anything on TV. My dad is in his 70s. He's going to turn on a game and text me, "What the fuck's going on with this court?"
It's angry, right?
And he won't want to watch it.
Though. I will say this though: they might have psyopsed us because we're talking about the in-season tournament right now, and we would not have been if the court reveal was anything normal.
Well,
this is the only reason we're talking about the in-season tournament right now. It starts
in a week.
We're going to be talking about it soon. I'm
Group
just saying
play starts in a week.
They might have got one over on us.
I don't.
I mean, maybe you're right. Credit, maybe I don't know. I don't know. Again, I don't think they like viewership is what at an all-time high. So
I don't know if that's true.
Is it not? I don't know. I mean I can't imagine that they're struggling for viewership right now. So I don't really know why.
I think it's because we're in the middle of broadcast negotiations. So it's like the player policy, the like all this stuff, right? Like it's all these like fake ways to draw in more interest or draw in more stability, just so they can tell Amazon or Apple or Tubi or whatever, like, hey, spend $1 billion on this because we fixed all the problems with load management and all this stuff. And I genuinely think these courts could be the destruction of the NBA. The crumbling of an empire.
They can't come back from this.
They'll never recover from.
When historians look back on what happened to every empire, crumbles eventually, and this is the downfall.
They're
of the NBA.
never going to recover from this Pelicans court, even if it's only used 4 times. Like it'll never work. This is it.
That's funny.
Zach, why are you sitting in like an 1865 library right now?
I'm in my hotel. Shout out to the Sentinel Hotel in downtown Portland. There's a fake fireplace over here. I got a fire going. There's a globe. There's snacks that they want you to buy. I'm just lounging. I'm just here in beautiful Portland.
From a
it's extremely hungover, which you're not supposed to say, but whatever, we'll keep it in. I'm fighting through these courts, and I'm enjoying this lounge area. It's the opposite of what you've got going on.
Yeah, it really is. You look so much more comfortable than I am. I'm like squished against
chair
the wall.
Yeah, you're stuck against the wall at a weird angle. Like you look like you didn't.
I'll come usher him away.
You look like you didn't know that you had to do a podcast today. Like this is last minute, even though you've been trying to figure this out the whole time.
So I had a perfect place to spot up in the Georgetown practice court, and then that was not allowed. So I think I blame Ed Cooley.
You can't tell them who you like.
He was not there, to be clear.
You can't hit them with the. Do you know who I am? I'm from the Athletic. I'm Jay King.
Yeah, don't think that name travels far and wide.
My team went 2-21 in a college season.
We did go 2-22. Please
2-22.
Our last loss. Yeah, I could have tried, but I'm pretty sure that the name Jay King doesn't really ring bells in these hallowed halls.
Not yet, but wait till they hear this podcast. Yeah. Let's move on to a rookie report. We've got 1 week of the NBA season in the bag, and we can concentrate on the top 3 rookies so far in terms of notoriety. Obviously, Wemby, maybe Sunday night didn't go so well, losing by 40, but the game against the Rockets, the flurry against the Mavericks, like Wemby has been electric. Scoot has been, that's a tough start to the season so far. Tough start to the career. Like Scoot, I think has been struggling quite a bit, but I'm still I'm a believer. It hasn't deterred me. Josh, I wanted to ask you, because I'm in Portland. I've been talking to Blazers fans and they're like, oh man, is Scoot gonna be okay? And I'm like, it's just a couple of games, he'll be fine. But I actually like him not being great right away in terms of like his production and how he's playing, because I think it tests him a little bit, right? It tests the resolve. He obviously came through the G League. I think he's mature beyond his age, but I like seeing how oh no, it's not easy right away. You gotta figure it out a little bit and seeing how he responds to that.
Well, I think it's kind of, things are skewed right now because everybody's looking at him and comparing him to Wembanyama.
Right.
And there's Wemby's showing out and showing up. He's playing what's wrong with Scoot? He's a kid still. He's in his first real NBA games. Same with Chet, right? People are comparing him to Chet then because they're Chet's obviously considered a rookie, but I don't think it's anything to ring alarm bells about. He's 2-3 games into his very first NBA season with a team that doesn't even have an identity yet.
Right.
And I honestly don't know how good Chauncey Billups is as a head coach, but he could be the perfect person for Scoot because it took Chauncey a while, right? It took him a while to learn how to run an offense. It took him a while to really take charge. And I mean, he was a real late bloomer. And I'm not saying Scoot will be. I think he's going to be awesome. I love his talent. I love his size. I love his intellect. I love basically everything about Scoot, everything you hear about his work ethic, everything. But Chauncey, he should be able to connect with a young point guard who, after a few games, it's not going to click for him right away. It's also a really tough situation for Scoot. Anthony Simons is already hurt. They don't have a ton of talent around him. Yep. He's going to be asked to do a lot for them. And that's tough for any young point guard. It takes point guards a long time, a lot of the time.
For sure. And I know he mentioned, he's like, oh, I'm not Dame. I'm just trying to be the best Scoot I can be. Yeah. But let's be real. Everybody is looking at that oh, he's got to take over for Dame. Everybody's thinking it. Yeah. Right. Whether or not he wants to admit it, it's in the back of his mind. And Dame's gone. It's Scoot's team now for the future.
It's not
and carry it.
It's not the same 1-to-1 situation, but there's a little bit of an overlap if you think about when the Pelicans moved Anthony Davis and Zion comes in, he's just there right away, right? They're magically winning the number 1 pick that year. What are the odds that they would magically get the number 1 pick?
Jay with the conspiracies, the psyops.
They had to send Anthony Davis to the Lakers, but Zion comes in and he was hurt his a big part of his first year, but when he came in he was electric, right? It was this stellar performance, and I think that eases a lot of the tension and everything about him now is just health, and hopefully we don't go through that with Scoot. But with Scoot, you got to fill in for arguably the greatest Blazer ever, right? At the same position and on a team that is not good. A team that is intentionally not going to be good this year because they're starting a rebuilding, phase. And I don't know. I don't mind seeing that kind of controversy hit him. Not controversy is the wrong word for it, but that kind of challenge hitting him of oh shit, this is hard, and we're gonna see how he responds. Wemby, that game against the Rockets, man. I was in this hotel room. waiting to go out. I'm just like, hold up, guys. I got I'm not leaving until this this game is over. I'm just watching it on my phone, as Gen Z as it could get, just watching a basketball game on my phone in the hotel room, and man, the double block on Jabari Smith Jr. Right, Jabari tries him in transition. Almost still made the
I
dunk.
thought Jabari was going to get him. Jabari was going to get him.
Jabari was almost the first to get him.
Yeah, I did too. And then that quick block on the follow up, and then he goes down. He has that spin move for the dunk, which maybe he hooked Jabari a little bit, but who cares? It was a fun highlight.
It took him 2 games to get the Kobe around the back, past the backboard on the other side dunk. 2 games in his career.
Was the putback on the free throw, the missed free throw, legal?
Yes, but I'm only saying that because I want it to be. Yeah,
I think it was. I think it was off the cylinder, man.
Want it to be,
because that was one of the most unbelievable. That was insane.
That legitimately might be a strategy that they can employ.
Crazy.
Try to. I once saw. I thought this was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. I once saw before. I can't even. I don't even remember what team he was playing for at the time. Maybe it was Pacers. Maybe it was the Bucks. But I once saw Monte Ellis intentionally missing free throws during warmups. He was just missing on the right side, missing on the left. And I thought, is he practicing this for if it's end of game situation? I've never seen anybody do that before. And
do you think Monte Ellis was that diligent about the
look? I saw him miss 8 free throws in a row, switching sides of the rim that it went off.
You're giving him a lot of credit.
I just don't think Monte Ellis could miss 8 free throws in a row. He's a pretty good free throw shooter. Good score. So I'm wondering, should Zach Collins just be learning how to miss free throws to whatever side Wemby is going to be on?
Ooh, you know what? That would be just an incredible next step.
Yeah.
If a missed free throw becomes more valuable than trying to make the free throw,
it's going to be the 5-point play. You foul somebody on a 3-point shot. Now you have to miss that to get Wemby.
This is the dumbest conversation we've probably ever had. Should he be missing free throws intentionally all the time? But also, this is the type of stuff Wembanyama makes you think of.
Yeah.
You watch him and it's stuff you didn't realize was possible is just happening. A 7'5" dude who just the agility, the fluidity, the coordination that he has is just insane. Most guys that size, you're by nature goofy.
That bucket he had at the end of regulation to tie it was just a super tough bucket.
Great defense.
Yeah, unbelievable. I thought Jabari defended him extremely well.
Nothing you can do. Nothing.
Yeah.
He's making us wonder if they should be missing free throws intentionally. Regularly.
I am advocating for that. If Wemby is in the game, you are doing your team a disservice by making free throws.
So, is shooting the only thing that could stop him from being totally outrageous forever? Because he profiles as someone who what will make him great is the ability to combine being maybe the most impactful defensive player in the league one day with a great shooter who stretches the court and does everything else. He hasn't been a great shooter. Yeah.
He doesn't need to be a great shooter.
Yeah,
I think
agreed, but to get to the level that people are talking about him at.
I don't think
But I even
so.
think if he's just a decent threat from 3, if he's, 35%, 33% shooter from 3, and then is capable of hitting a mid-range jumper, what do you do with that? You can't leave him open. Right. That's enough to where he could catch fire and punish you, but you can't leave him open. So what do you do? Because I don't think he needs to be a great shooter to still be insane.
I think I know they're completely different bodies and everything, but no one gives a shit if Giannis can shoot. We prefer he doesn't, right? I think his physical profile is such that it would be a luxury for him to shoot, but I don't think it's going to take him being a good shooter to wreck basketball.
Yeah.
He's kind of
if
stronger.
he can wreck it before those courts do. Like
he's stronger than he looks, too.
To be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's stronger than he looks because I think that the length makes him look super skinny, but like he's stronger than he looks, and then he doesn't have to be super strong. He's 7'5". Bully him to the rim, and then he's just going to meet you up top.
Right.
Whatever.
Yeah, then he just he'll block it before you can release the ball. His hands.
He's not super quick, but he just kind of follows you. You'll get by him, which is kind of what he wants. Like when I was playing like as a shot blocker, I kind of liked it when guards kind of got by me a little bit because it made them feel safe. And then when they go up, you pin it against it. Like that's just kind of like a strategy. Like it's like, oh, you think you're good now. You went by me, but I'm just gonna meet you up top. Like honestly makes it easier sometimes.
It's kind of crazy that he came in with all that hype, and after 3 games, people are like, "Oh yeah,
dude, yeah, I get it."
I've been saying this preseason. We undersold it. Like I understand he had a historic high. Like undersold it. Like it's crazy. Like he's like I will watch all 82 Spurs games this year.
He's mesmerizing.
I don't think I would be the basketball nerd I am if I didn't watch all 82 Spurs games this year because he's just that electric. Speaking of skinny, Nikola Jokic had high praise for Chet Holmgren after they played on Sunday, but did say he needs to get fatter. Not stronger, not muscular, just needs to get fatter.
Oh man.
Let me tell you, as someone who's done that over the last 15 years, it's not a good strategy for basketball.
It doesn't help.
It needs to be muscle. It needs to be muscle.
Doesn't help.
Obviously, we had some fun at Chet's expense in the chat when Andre Drummond broke his ankles in Game 1 of his career. But man, like he's responded, like he's looked pretty at least offensively. I mean, he's had some good defensive plays, like Sunday against the Nuggets is not fair because, as Josh and I talked about, like it's just like they're by far the best team in the league right now.
They're out of control right now.
Yeah, but Chet's looked like pretty comfortable. I don't know how much of that is year 2 of the NBA, even though it's the first couple of games of his career. But I mean, he looks as good as advertised right now.
Yeah, what's cool about him and Wembanyama is they both play winning basketball right away. Like they both came in with a knowledge of defensive angles, with an ability to just impact the game on that end. There was one play, he didn't even get a block on the play, but one play against Cleveland where Max Strus is coming off a pick and roll and Chet like just reads it and he doesn't really commit to it. He lays back, they throw it to Mobley and Chet recovers. He's right back there to contest the shot and force a miss. And that's the little stuff that a lot of the time rookie big men, it takes him a long time to know the angles, to be able to cover pick and rolls. Like that's such a tough game to know when to commit to a ball handler, when to lay back. And the instincts for Chet, the defensive instincts are just outrageous. And so it's not just the 7 blocks. It's like just the little plays that he makes on a possession-to-possession basis. They're just like, oh, wow, that dude's a super smart defender on top of being 7 foot with a 7'5" wingspan or whatever it is. So he's going to change the Thunder a lot, and I think it's going to be pretty right away.
It's crazy to think his wingspan is like 7 inches shorter than Wemby's. That's nuts.
Yeah,
you just said 7'5" wingspan. I was like, well, that's so much shorter than Wemby's, but that's not a good measuring point, I guess. That's not fair.
What I love about Chet is like he gets in the gaps offensively. Like he has like a natural ability to find openings against the defense, like off pick and rolls. Like he really understands when to pop, when to short roll into like 15-foot range, when to roll to the basket. Like he finds these little gaps that like usually it takes a while to get good at that, to be able to like read that instinctively and things like that. But he's already got it. Like he knows where to find those gaps in the offense. Like he did it against the Nuggets. Like he would find these little 15-footers just by floating to the right place. You know what I mean? Or find these spots on the 3-point line. Like he would see that Jokic is going to drop and he would see that the help side was too low and he would find these perfect spots on the wing for a 3.
Yeah.
Like I think that's what makes him dangerous, is like without hesitation knows exactly where he needs to be offensively.
That instinct for spacing wherever that needs to be.
For sure.
Like that, like you can teach it, but that's to have it that quickly.
For sure. that's tough.
Is pretty
That's tough.
impressive.
Yeah.
Before we get out of here, we can't just talk about the main 3 rookies. Let's all highlight someone that we've either liked or been a little concerned with. I'll start out. Like, he gets pushed away because we talk Scoot and Wemby all the time. I thought Brandon Miller looked pretty good so far in a couple of games. Shout out to Brandon Miller. Like, Hornets fans don't like me because I had them 30th in the power rankings to start the season, but I'm here for like a good Brandon Miller rookie season. Thought he looked pretty comfortable for the most part.
That dude's gifted.
He is, yeah.
Yeah, he's I think well hopefully he stays healthy and LaMelo stays healthy, and that's a fun pairing. Jay, do you have somebody?
I like Jaime Jaquez so far. That was your pick too, Josh?
Yeah.
That was Jaquez, he's just a good basketball player. Yeah, that's it. He's not going to do
what analysis. He's just a good basketball player.
But he's not going to do a lot.
The guy
flashy.
that made the NBA. It was a first round pick. He's just a good basketball
He's
player.
not going to do a lot flashy. The Heat brought him in on opening night, or it was their second game, and he's guarding Jason Tatum.
Yeah, picking him.
They had him guard Jason Tatum, and Tatum, you could tell Tatum was kind of like, they got this rookie on me. Like, I don't know about this, and he kind of went at him a little bit. But Jaquez competed. He made things tough, and so I just think he's going to be very good for them to have a 6'7", 6'8" wing who with the physicality, who can also do some stuff offensively too. Put it on the floor a little bit. Yeah. He's done like a couple like ISO mid-range stuff already that he made a living on at UCLA. I just think he's going to be very good for Miami.
Yeah, I'm going with Jaime too, because I think he's like literally like a perfect fit for the Heat. Like a dirty work player, always plays hard, defense first. He was my favorite player in college basketball the last 2 years.
Yeah,
like does everything. Right, he'll push in transition. He can score from the perimeter. He can score at the basket, mid-range. Plays hard. Like, I think that's like the perfect guy that Jimmy wants on his team. Is a guy just like that, and I think he fits the Heat's culture perfectly. I think he's like one of those quiet rookies that people get overshadowed by, arguably the best rookie of all time.
Right.
Like,
at least the most enticing since LeBron, right? Like,
since
that's
LeBron, exactly.
But Jaquez, he's just always been the type of guy. Like, his stats are never going to be crazy. Even at UCLA, his stats weren't that crazy.
Yeah,
but he rebounds. He can lead the offense if you need him to. He can push the break. He can get a bucket in the post if you need him to. Like, there's just a lot that he brings to the table.
Anything, yeah. And they want those guys, right? They want the guys that, like, shots not falling. All right, we know Jaime is going to play defense. He's going to get rebounds.
Yeah,
and then it's just
going to move
the ball
if
the shot is going in too. Yeah, I think he's perfect there.
And Jason Kidd, please start Derek Lively the rest of the season. I don't want to see anybody else. Please just take the lumps, take the good, just start him. Make sure you subscribe to The Athletic. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to The Bounce, theathletic.com/bounce, free newsletter every single morning in your email. Make sure you're checking out all of Jay King's Jason Tatum workout coverage from the Georgetown facility. Make sure you're doing all that. For Josh Hustis, for Jay King, for Dave DeFore, for Andrew Schleck, I'm Zach Harbert. Keep it locked on Basket Buds and the Athletic NBA Show podcast.